Hi, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to refine foils from about 5,000 ram sticks. This is 6 kilograms of trimmed fingers. I'm going to take those recovered in the filter and add those that I washed off the sticks. Nice big batch of them here, get them into the beaker. Our next steps are going to be to dissolve these as well as any base metals in the filter. I'm in Aqua Regia. Once we get them into the filter here, we'll put it up on the heat and get that going. Going to add about 400 milliliters of hydrochloric acid. Sorry for the camera work there. Working on the best angle. Alright, once we get that in, we're going to add about 50 milliliters of nitric acid. Should be more than enough for the gold, but there is some base metals, I'm sure, in these foils, so we'll give it a little extra to ensure we get everything nice and dissolved here without much hassle. Alright, we can see that it's starting to react already. And noticing that we have fumes coming out that the fume scrubber isn't grabbing. The hose coming down there should be grabbing it. Isn't quite low enough. It's important. This is why we have a fume hood, because it's taking those fumes away. Super helpful, especially because I'll be changing that hose there so that we can get them through the scrubber and get them scrubbed going through the rest of the reaction here. Okay, got it in. As you can see now, the fumes have stopped coming out. They're all being sucked up through the scrubber and scrubbed out. It's taken about an hour and a half or so for this to really come down here. You can see it's going away, and now we're all done. The fumes have cleared. The filter is dissolved. You can see the leftover fiberglass kind of powder that came with the fingers over. It's a lot of fingers, a little bit of powder in there. We'll filter that out. All right, we've got our solution here. It's cooled a little bit. Gonna get ready to filter it. Got the filter set up, and I'm going to try to get most of the liquid in before I get the fiberglass gunk in the bottom, so it can filter through a little quicker. Gonna throw a filter up in here and get it started. Definitely see how much cleaner it looks coming out of the filter than it is going into the filter. We've got just all that gunk in the bottom. We're going to let this all filter out, and then we'll throw that in to get it all filtered and washed up and get all the gold bearing solution out of the beaker. Alright, we're going to go and transfer this to a smaller beaker, easier to handle. A couple of sticks left in there we'll leave behind. Alright, get the rest of it in here and let it filter out. Right, obviously I have this on time lapse. This is a fairly slow filter. There's a fair amount of gunk in there that is taking a while to get through. When we get down here, we'll put it back in the speaker. I can tell already it's a little bit cloudy, so we're going to definitely filter it a second time. I'm going to use a clean filter so it doesn't go through that gunk and pull any other additional stuff through once we get there, but we'll see if we can get it cleared up to crystal clear. Alright, done filtering. Turn off the vacuum pump. I'm going to rinse off and pull out the funnel here. You can see all that junk in there. And get this into a beaker and get set up to put it through a second time. We're set up for our second filtration. I'll be using a new filter paper for this one. We want to avoid any of that gunk that was stuck in the first one getting pulled into this filtration. This should go pretty quick. It's a fairly clean solution. We're just trying to get it crystal clear here before we precipitate the gold. As we say, going through here, it is coming through. We're going to wash the color out of the filter there. And I believe we are done. You can see here we're rinse that off. And take a look and see there's a little bit of color in there. We'll capture that in our paper processing at a later stage. And transfer this to the beaker. And we will move on to go to precipitation. So move this up onto the hot plate here, mostly just to get it out of the way so when we precipitate, any of those nasty fumes don't accidentally come out. Do a little arranging here. I'm going to be drying some gold next to this from a different project. Get it all put in there. So before we precipitate with our SMB, I'm going to do a quick stannous test. Just to make sure my stannous chloride is working well, but also to confirm there's gold in there. I'm pretty sure there is, but we'll do the confirmation anyway. See if I can get this lined up for the camera a little better. Here. A little bit of stannous chloride. You can see from that dark stain that there is plenty of gold in solution. All right, we're going to add our SMB. This is bonite stump out, sodium metabisulfite. This will precipitate the pure gold out of solution. Add probably 3 or 4 teaspoons full and see where we end up. Give it a quick stir. Let me get it all settled in there. Spray the rod and spray down the sides of the beaker. We're going to do another stannous test to ensure that we have in fact precipitated all the gold out of solution. All right, we don't see any reaction with our stannous, so all of our gold is precipitated out of solution. All right, now that we're all precipitated, we're just going to let this settle. Get the gold to settle down on the bottom, and then we'll decant off and then wash this gold up. So it looks like we're fully settled here. We'll start the wash process. So first we're going to decant off the solution as much as possible. The gold on the bottom and settled there, and then we will begin washing that up. See most of that solution. There may be a little gold in there, so we'll of course save this and let it settle out. And put that into our gold refining waste. Start with some boiling water washes. I will do 2 or 3 of these, let it settle for a few minutes, decant it off. I'm going to move this all to a smaller beaker again, just easier to handle. And continue with our hot water wash. We're going to go even smaller. We'll let that settle and then drain that off, and then we're doing about 100 milliliters of hydrochloric acid. We'll put that on the hot plate and let that do a boil and really clean that gold up good, taking the impurities that we see out. So we can see in the boil here, we're getting some color in our hydrochloric. That's great. That's pulling some of those other metals that got pulled down with the precipitation out of the gold. We'll pull that off here, drain that off, back and do it several more boiling water rinses, you can see how quickly the gold settles down, how clear the water is as it comes out. Since they're cold, it's a little less messy and a lot cleaner. So we'll do that. We'll let this settle over, and then we're going to go ahead and put this up on the heat while it's still warm. Want it warm, not hot, and go ahead and let that dry before we weigh our gold. So time to weigh it up. From this amount, I'm expecting about 40 grams. So here's our gold powder. Let's transfer it here to the paper. And, make sure our beaker's clear. And we'll bring the scale in. Get that off to the side, get the scale here. Go ahead and put our beaker back on there and tear it up. And in goes the gold. Let's see what we've got. And it looks like we're coming in at 38.59 grams. So pretty good. A little under my estimate, but not too far off. So I'm going to go ahead and hold this powder. I think I do want to re-refine it, and I'm probably going to combine it with some other projects to get a bigger melt in an upcoming video. And thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and like this, subscribe, comment, all welcome, and feedback is appreciated. Thank you.